red button? Yeah, push the little red button.
Welcome to the Netpicks podcast, episode 2. They call me the Captain. You can call me Susan if it makes you happy. And the Renfield to my Dracula is, of course, the podcast machine, Mike Larkin. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, buddy. I look forward to what we're talking about today. It's going to be a fun topic for everybody to listen to.
Yeah, sorry for the analogy. I know nobody wants to be Renfield.
I'm okay. I'll be alright. I'll let that slide.
It's not all bad. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe once played Renfield.
That he did. That he did.
That's very good, by the way. If anybody wants to check it out, Frankenstein with James McAvoy. But today we're talking 80's horror. As determined by the Reel of Fortune last week, it is 80's horror, unquestionably the golden age of horror. I mean, sure, horror is better made these days in terms of realism, but how many characters of the last 20 years have left a lasting impression, like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Chucky? Yeah, okay, the first Halloween was 1978, but, you know, most of the 30 sequels came in the 80's. Okay, and disclaimer, of course, before we begin, every movie has to be at least a year old in the interest of professionalism on my part. That's not going to be an issue this week because the 80's were fucking over 30 years ago.
Yes.
Over 40 years ago. Jesus. Alright. Technically, I'm an 80's kid, even though I was born in the last month.
Really? You're going to be using on a technicality there, man?
Hey! You were one day off a 365 with a knowledge championship, so I'm using this one.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. You got me.
Alright. So before we open the curtains, let's kick things off with 5 films or less, because we took like 5 or 10 minutes to solve it last week, so I figure if we pick the actors now, we can do some research while we discuss our picks and then come up with an answer at the end of the show.
Alrighty.
So if you pick one actor from any of your 2 chosen 80's horror movies.
Okay. Yes. Well, for the first one, I got to pick Jack Nicholson because my first movie I picked was The Shining.
Alright, so we got to link Jack Nicholson to, and I will pick Johnny Depp.
Jack Nicholson and Johnny Depp. Wow.
We will connect them in 5 films or less by the end of this show. Okay, so up first, take it away with The Shining.
So for me, I mean, how can you not go wrong with The Shining? You have friggin' Daddy! Daddy! You have the twins. You got him talking about, Wendy, I'm home. Wendy, darling, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want to smash your brains in. Here's Johnny. Who's Tony? A momentary loss of muscular coordination. Like, how could you not go wrong with this? This is just pure horror. Jack, you know what it is for me? The imagery of the poster and actually watching the film, because Jack Nicholson is out of his freaking mind. It's just one of those things where if you want to talk about classic horror, and this came out in the 80's, you know what I'm saying? This is 1980 right here. Yes, this is the beginning of the 80's and one of the most integral films of the 80's. And when you talk about 80's horror, is The Shining. It's just a madman that is Jack Nicholson, many numerous lines, and just the fact that he goes batshit crazy. For me, it was something that I really loved and just watching over and over again. I remember the first time I watched this, growing up, my mom was a fan of it because she loved like The Shining and just thought that Jack Nicholson was absolutely insane. And I remember watching this with my mom. I think it was on FX, AMC, wherever the hell it was on. And I'm like, God damn, would you look at this son of a bitch, Jack Nicholson, just going absolutely nuts? And I was intrigued. And I really didn't just enjoy just this particular film. Like me, I'm a fan of all genres, but particular with horror, The Shining sticks out for me.
Yeah, interesting factoid as well. So the scene where, obviously the famous scene where he smashes the axe through the door and yells, "Here's Johnny," that not only took 3 days to film, but they chopped down 60 doors.
Jesus.
Just for that one line, which of course was also improvised by Jack Nicholson.
Hey, either way, however you improvise or not, it's still one of the most memorable lines and scenes, and I love it, man. I truly do.
Another interesting fact. In order to make Jack Nicholson in order to make himself agitated, he agreed to only be fed cheese sandwiches for 2 weeks, which he hates.
Now that's dedication. That's dedication. Well, first and foremost, you can't go wrong with like a cheese sandwich. I mean, there's grilled cheese sandwiches. Like grilled cheese is very good. Why you
Yeah,
gotta hate on the cheese there, Jack?
there's people in this world who don't like cheese, and I don't understand it.
I don't get that either. I mean, what is wrong with you people? I can understand like whatever else, but cheese, one of the greatest
Cheese is
things ever.
life.
Cheese, yeah, cheese is life. Give me a pizza, a cheese pizza. Give me some macaroni and cheese. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, cheese is so versatile.
Mm-hmm. Eat some Swiss, eat some provolone, eat some American cheese. Do something. Make you feel good.
One thing I've never seen, I've always known about it, but I've never actually seen it, was the Shining TV movie remake.
Oh, I wouldn't even bother with that because I remember hearing something about that. I'm like, no, you can't. You know what it is? It's going to be like my second film. Don't even do the series. Don't even do the sequels. Don't even do the third one. Just stick to the original. Just stick to the original when it comes to Shining. I didn't even bother watching the TV movie.
Yeah, well, the miniseries, yeah, it was in 1997, starring Rebecca De Mornay
Yeah,
and
well,
Steven Weber.
hold on a minute. First and foremost, you can't go wrong with Rebecca De Mornay. I love me some Rebecca De Mornay. So hot, want to touch the Heidi Billy Madison style. But I digress. It's
Yeah.
one of those things where I love me some Rebecca De Mornay, but you're also covering something that was in the 80's into the late 90's. So I'm just kind of like, no. And Steven Weber was in it. I know who Steven Weber is, but Jesus, man. Out of everybody to play Jack, you picked the dude from like I Zombie and friggin' NCIS New Orleans and Wings and all those shows, man. Like, all right. Like I said, I didn't even bother, but hey. And he was in Dracula too, right? Wasn't he in Dracula?
Um, I'm trying to think. Oh, yes, he was in the one with Leslie Nielsen, Dead and Loving It,
Uh, God
with the
damn, man.
very, 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 very posh English accent.
Okay, but still, I mean, it's again, it's a different time when you have the late '90's, and as a '90's kid, I love it. But when you talk about the '80's, you can't think about The Shining. But yeah, I was not into like, you know what it is for me? It's like when we've talked about this, like when Peter Scolari, when he was on that Honey I Shrunk the Kids, a TV show that we don't talk about, you can't do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Why are you taking these classics and put them into a miniseries or a TV show? I can't do it, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, Steven Weber also had a brilliant line in that Dracula movie with Leslie Nielsen, where Lucy obviously is half possessed by Dracula and is coming on to him, and he's just, very uptight and says, "But Lucy, I'm British." And she responds by showing her breasts and saying, "So are these."
Might just have to check it out just for that.
Yeah. I also kind of kick myself because I still haven't seen the Shining sequel, which came out last year, Doctor Sleep. I don't know why.
I heard about this, but I'll be honest with you. I'm just kind of like, it's the thing again with sequels. I mean, like, you can't beat the original, but yeah, Doctor Sleep, who was in that one? I know it was
It
Ewan
was Ewan
McGregor,
McGregor,
right?
yeah.
Ewan McGregor, yeah. It looked interesting, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? Because again, Stephen King, and I love Stephen King, but yeah, you can't beat The Shining. And just for me, like Ewan McGregor, I believe was in it, like you mentioned. Who the hell else was in? I think the chick Rebecca Ferguson, who was in like, oh geez, wasn't she in like, oh geez, she was in a soap opera, some soap opera. But yeah, I remember seeing that name, and I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. I'm kind of a traditionalist, Mr. Dazzy Dangerously. I like me the OG.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Rebecca Ferguson. I don't know what she's been in. I know her name.
Oh, she
She's
was.
been in Mission Impossible and Greatest Showman, but I don't know about a soap opera or anything.
Yeah, she was in Drowning Ghost and all this stuff. Yeah, she's done like a lot of Swedish soap operas.
Ooh.
Okay,
Alright.
first and foremost, all right, man, you and I got a bone to pick with you. She was in Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. No. No, because you know what it is, man?
We don't like Mission Impossible?
All right, I like Mission Impossible, but can I be completely honest with you?
Okay.
I stopped after the second one because I didn't even go see Mission Impossible 3. That also takes me back to pro wrestling with Mr. Kennedy talking about, Mission Impossible 3 sucked. And I saw
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 3 on TV and it sucked.
I've only seen the first three, and I don't remember anything from the third one.
Yeah, I remember hearing the third one was so bad, and then I watched it like when it was just on TV just to see how it was, and I'm like, Oh man, like they should have just stopped at two. Like I love the first one to death. I mean the second one sticks out to me because Metallica. Do you bury me when I'm gone? Do you teach me while I'm here? I disappear. Like but yeah. Other than that, no, I couldn't like fuck with it after that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's The Shining. My first one
Hmm.
is the complete opposite end of the 80s, 1989.
Okay.
And it's a little known original version of a pretty successful adaptation that came out a few years ago. So in 1989, there was a TV movie version of The Woman in Black, and it's as British as you can get. There's like a there's like a style to 80s British TV horror where it's really gritty. Like it doesn't rely on jump scares or anything. It's just all creepy. It's hard to explain. It's just got this aura about it. And there's a very, I think it's famous anyway. I know it well anyway. Scene in this movie where she kind of comes in through the window and stares into the camera, and apparently it terrified the shit out of people at the time. And then it went to a commercial break. Just leave it there and then we'll come back to it. Like the most terrifying cut to a break ever. Apart from when Andre Corbiel's furnace was about to blow up.
Yes.
But there's a very good factoid about this one too. So this one starred Adrian Rollins, who, probably isn't a very recognizable name, but he went on to play James Potter, the father of Harry Potter in all 8 movies or whatever. And of course, Daniel Radcliffe then went on to play the same role in the remake of The Woman in Black. So, nice little link up.
Yes. All right.
And I believe it's just been re-released on a Blu-ray. I'm not sure why, because 20th anniversary was last year. 30th anniversary, my bad. But yeah, I mean, I think the remake is a lot more intense, and there's a lot more jump scares, obviously, and it's a lot more horrific. But this one just makes you feel uneasy. Like, it doesn't really hide the woman in black either. It kind of shows you her straight away. And she's just this evil, angry-looking woman. And she's got the greatest "I want to kill you" glare ever. So...
Well, I'm going to say this about that. Excuse me. Like I remember seeing like the that with Daniel Radcliffe like when it came out in theaters, and I'm just like, all right. I mean, I'll be honest, he didn't do a bad job in that remake though. And you know what it is for me? Like I'm so like inclined to see him as Harry effing Potter. So I'm like, this was new for me. So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? All right, he doesn't have the wand, he doesn't have the whole nine. He's just being Daniel Radcliffe, being all creepy and the whole nine there, and just being scared out of his mind. But yeah, I was actually okay with it. I thought he did a very good job.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. That was kind of the first real thing that he did after Harry Potter. I think the last one came out the year before he did The Woman in Black. And obviously it was such a difference to go straight into this gothic Hammer horror movie. Which reminds me, we need more Hammer horror, because The Woman in Black remake was supposed to be the reboot for Hammer horror, and we haven't seen any more. I loved the old school Hammer movies. But he's gone on to basically do as many different things as possible. Like he went from Harry Potter to The Woman in Black, and he did a lot of Broadway. He's actually a very good dancer and singer.
You know what? I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay with that. I think that's what's great about when you do your career. You always like to transition from something different. And if you could do Broadway and just live it up, that's awesome. I mean, you get to showcase more of your talents.
Yeah. And going back to the original, the 89 version as well. So not only did it have that horrifying cut to a break, but this was broadcast for the first time in the UK on Christmas Eve.
Wait a minute.
Just to fuck people up on Christmas Eve.
They put this on a friggin' New Year's Eve before Christmas? I did not know this.
I don't think it was shown. From what I can see, the release dates were UK, Turkey, Finland, Portugal, Germany. So I mean, you probably haven't heard of it. You probably never got it over there.
Nah, I don't think we did. And first and foremost, this was 3 years before I was born.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't reckon that this was ever on. I could even think of repeats or anything. I don't think they ever showed this ever in the States. I think this is just
Yeah,
this is
it doesn't say if it's ever been shown over there, but you can probably find it on DVD or Blu-ray. I guess shout out to Music Magpie.
Music Magpie. Yes. Now I got to look this up and actually watch this old school Woman in Black because, like I said, if it's anything like the remake, I enjoyed that with Radcliffe. But now let me ask you: have you seen the one with Radcliffe?
Oh yeah, I saw that one before this one.
Oh, okay. So you're like me. All right. So, what do you think? The '89 one with what did you say, Adrian Rollins, or this one with the one that came out in what was it, 2012 with him with Radcliffe?
Yeah, there was, like I said, there was each one had a different style. This one was gritty and suspenseful, and the remake was straight up jump scares, boo, darkness, ghosts, ah.
Ah.
I mean, I've probably watched them both equally amount of times. But I think there was definitely more going on in the remake, so it just kind of has the edge. But yeah, I mean, the '89 version is definitely underrated.
All right. Well, that's definitely something I got to check out now going forward since you just put that in my head now. And the fact that y'all released it on Christmas Eve, you crazy people.
Yeah, jump scares, boo, ghosts, ah.
Ah!
Alright, so what have you got for your second?
You already know this, man. Jason Patrick, Corey Haim, Kiefer Sutherland. I'm talking about the Lost Boys, man.
Well, yeah, legendary.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. It goes under horror comedy. So, I mean, you got the horror side of things, and then you got the comedy aspect, like, Nanook. What about Nanook? What'd you do to my dog, you asshole? And also, so what are you? The flying nun? Like, there's the comedy aspect to it. And the fact that, does it burn? Are you kidding me? It's freezing. Like the scene at dinner, like the whole thing with friggin' Star, and just the fact, like, that infamous "Thou shalt not cry," like "Cry Little Sister," like each and everything that is encompassed within the Lost Boys film. All the damn vampires will be here all day. It's one of the things where, for me, I was suspenseful because of the way that they looked and the fact that when they're in the cave, right, and they're going after him. Yeah. After burn rubber does not mean warp speed, which still cracks me up to this day. And how Corey Haim is just putting out his hand and just put like the little cross up with his hand. It's hilarious. And just the fact that Kiefer Sutherland goes, "Tonight," and it has that overall ambiance and just everything about it that I loved. And the fact that they look scary. And then also one of my favorite things as well is okay, so the kill your brother, you'll feel better. No.
Yeah, Corey Haim was great in Lost Boys.
That just showed the chemistry that he had with Feldman, and the whole nine for me is like I remember seeing. I believe Corey Haim was in another one in the '80s too. He's in Silver Bullet, right?
Yes.
Yes, I remember seeing him in a Silver Bullet. I actually saw Lost Boys first, then Silver Bullet. I'm like, this is goddamn good with Corey Haim. And it's such a tragedy that he died young, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, like, you can't beat the original Lost Boys. And when I saw him in the second Lost Boys, and he's right in at the end, and apparently he became a vampire, and then friggin' that was the end of Corey Haim, and then the third one, I just... You know what it is, too? Like, they tried to do those direct-to-DVD films and with the sequels, and I'm just like, no, you cannot beat what the original was. So, for me, yeah. And also, Jason Patrick, cool as hell with his shades. Oh, Jason Patrick was that man.
Yeah, the only thing I like about the second one is the cover of Cry Little Sister by Aiden.
See, that was a good cover, but yeah, other than that, I think the whole film was kind of bleh.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, the first one's legendary, and Kiefer Sutherland is the coolest vampire of all time. You don't like rice, Michael? How can a billion Chinese people be wrong?
Exactly. It's only noodles, Michael. Only noodles.
But it's also got that brilliant twist at the end with the grandpa, and he's like, "I always hated this place. Or the vampires. Too many vampires." So it's like, wait, you knew all along?
You knew all along, all the damn vampires.
Yes, son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. But no, what gets me too is also, you know what it is too at the ending sequence when it's Max as the head vampire. He's like, but I still want you, Lucy. And then they go, great, the blood sucking pretty much. Also, hold on a minute, man. He's freaking killing one of the vampires, and then Corey Haim just goes, death by stereo. And I'm like, that is cool. That is fucking cool. Like, oh, and then they chop the onions up in the tub, and oh my goodness gracious, great way to kill vampires.
Yeah. And of course, you can't forget the other Corey with this,
I know.
the frog voice.
Oh yes, you know how much you think we should charge him for this? Edgar and Allan Frog. Mm.
The great thing about him is he plays these goofy characters and he puts on these goofy voices, but he plays it so straight.
Oh, he does. Like, there was so many lines in there with him that I cracked up. Like, the little kid laddie, the one that was with Star, like, the little kid that was, like, little half vampire, right? And then he goes, holy shit, the attack of Eddie Munster. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't beat comedy like that. So, for me, yeah. And, I mean, they've included Edgar and Allan Frog, like, when he was in, like, the sequels. Because, again, Corey Feldman was the only one from the original that they used, besides Corey Haim at the ending of the second Lost Boys. But I'm like, just being the focal point of the Frog Brothers also – and the other two, I'm just like, okay, I understand it, but I'm like, you know, nothing just will beat that original cast, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Out fucking standing.
Out fucking standing, yes. Or also in the beginning where, you know, they're singing Groovin' on a Sunday afternoon, and the mother, and she's letting them, like, no. And also the fact that, you know, she friggin' gets ripped up by the Hounds of Hell, you know what I'm saying? And Thor, first of all, Thor, man, the dog. The dog was a badass dog, man. Hello.
I think every dog in a horror movie is badass. Because it makes you even more not want anything to happen to them.
That is true. But also, you know what was amazing about that too? Remember when they go to dinner and then friggin' he's calling her, Mom, he's gonna kill me. Oh no, Mom. And then she's running to the car all frantically, and then he's just sitting there drinking and eating the dinner. And I'm like, it's just so funny because it just the whole thing, like he's screaming, oh Mom, no, he's gonna kill me. Ah, and then he's just sitting there drinking, eating. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And the infamous beach scene with Tim Capello performing I Still Believe on the saxophone. Wow, that's so 80s.
Very 80s, but it was cool. Like, everything about that film is just cool. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing with me. Like, that's another thing as a kid I remember, because my mom knew there were some scary spots in it. Like, I remember watching as a kid, my mom would put the blanket over my head, you know what I'm saying? But as I got older, you know, I realized what it was, and I'll tell you a little funny story about this. We were going to get a movie from Blockbuster, and we had purchased Vampires, which was a movie around the time like 2004, where it was like he gets arrested, then he goes back to the hood, and everybody's vampires. And I'll be honest with you, it fucking sucked. So we're like, well, this is a waste of a rental. What are we gonna put on? We put on the Lost Boys. You know why? Because you can't beat the effing Lost Boys. Wanted to try something new and different on the horror front, Dazzy Dangerously, but it did not work well in our favor.
No.
You wanted something different. And then this is the days, kids, of Blockbuster, when you actually had to rent a movie. Before we had Netflix and friggin' all this other crap, you know what I'm saying? We had Blockbuster and a little Hollywood Video.
Kids today don't know.
Kids today do not know. Like, I'll be honest with you, I frequented both Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, but I was more of a Blockbuster kid. And besides, where I lived on Long Island, 10 minutes from my house, and you know what's in the place of Blockbuster now where it used to be?
A Walmart?
An urgent care place.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we went from having like a Blockbuster to a friggin' urgent care place.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yes, also in the same vicinity as a gym. So how about this, man? If you got a problem while you're working at anything, just go over to urgent care. Just in case you absolutely gas yourself out, blow yourself up, just go on over to urgent care just in case you get hurt. It's all in the vicinity. Yeah, cheap plug. And then friggin' while you're over there, go on down to Bagel Boss, man. In case you're hungry, you got everything. You got the urgent care in case you get hurt, work up a storm, go to Bagel Boss or Bagel Boss and then eat. Oh, my goodness gracious. And then there is a store there, by the way, but it is not Walmart. It is Stop and Shop, Dazzy Dangerously. So you got everything right in the vicinity. And they also got a Dunkin' Donuts over there. Dazzy Dangerously, you were living the high life if you were in that mini mart over there in Bayshore, Long Island. Get yourself some Dunkin' Donuts, get yourself some bagels. Hey, Cher, you want some bagels? Get yourself some bagels. Get yourself your fitness. Get yourself your gym on. Get yourself your urgent care on. Hey, it's a potpourri.
Okay, so my second is from 1984,
Mm-hmm.
and I've actually already kind of mentioned it. Because I wanted one of the films this week that I picked to be obscure and the other one to be a famous 80s horror movie. So the second one is A Nightmare on Elm Street, starring the great Robert Englund as the iconic Freddy Krueger, and the acting movie debut of a very, very young Johnny Depp. And that's, of course, where Johnny Depp comes from.
That's
Do you know how old he actually was in Nightmare on Elm Street?
how old was Johnny Depp?
Oh, cry, how old is he now?
Hell, you son of a gun!
In Nightmare on Elm Street, he was 21.
Damn.
I mean, he looks younger than 21, to be honest. He's now 57.
Jesus, man. You know what it is about Johnny Depp? Like, for me, my earliest memory of him was Edward Scissorhands.
Yes.
So I totally forgot that he was in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't even know that was his film debut, but I mostly grew up with 90s Johnny Depp, like the Edward Scissorhands, The Ninth Gate,
Yeah.
going into the 2000s with A Secret Window, the whole nine. Like me, like that's my memory of Johnny Depp. And of course, like your Sweeney Todds and all that. Now, I mean, I was the one that saw him as Willy Wonka and friggin' Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, for God's sake. But hey, man, you know what it is too? I got a little bone to pick with that. You know why? Because I was such a big fan of the first Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the fucking man, and I don't know how to feel about this scenario with Johnny Depp as Charlie and Charlie, the friggin' Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But I'm like, all right, he's okay as Willy Wonka, you know.
Yeah, the remake was just weird in every possible way.
It was absolutely, man.
I mean, to be honest, it was actually more accurate to the book than the original, but it was just so weird. I mean, it had Tim Burton all over it.
And friggin' Oompa Loompas, man. Jesus, those are some scary ass Oompa Loompas.
All played by one person.
Oh my God! You know what it is too, man? I never even realized that. But yes, I mean they're all kind of like cloned Oompa Loompas. But god dang, man, scared the shit out of me when I saw them. I'm like, that's some creepy looking Oompa Loompas. Because the first one, everybody's all the same, but it's not as creepy as friggin' these little sons of bitches. And Tim Burton, you son of a gun. Oh, it's the creepy factor, but it's good. Good.
Yeah, well, Depp's character in Nightmare had probably the most famous death scene in the whole series, with the blood shooting out of the bed after he gets dragged into it. And he also has a great line of Miss Nude America's coming on TV, and his mum says, well, how do you know what she's going to say? Because he's wearing headphones. And he says, who cares what she's going to say?
Amen. Amen. Okay, so here's my thing about the Nightmare on Elm Street thing. You know what I remember? I remember because there was a lot of like the Halloweens, and I love these films. Like you have films like Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street that are classics, cult classics in the 80s, right? So I remember when they friggin' came out with the one, I think that was the remake in 2008. I know there's been many others, but I remember the one that there was another Nightmare on Elm Street 2008. I'm like, I remember watching that.
Yeah, well, obviously I was going to mention the remake, and it's just awful. It's probably...
It's what I was going to say, yep.
I mean, Friday the 13th had a pretty good remake. It wasn't great, but it was good. Well, Halloween, some people like the Rob Zombie films, some don't. I've had second thoughts about it. I don't mind it that much. But the Nightmare remake was just terrible. It wasn't just, like, a bad movie. It was... Some of the acting was horrible. Like, especially in the opening scene. I come back to this scene every single time I mention this movie because it pisses me off so much that it doesn't get talked about how bad it is. It's just a delivery of I think it's Kellen Lutz.
Yes.
If I can find it, I'll play the audio of it and you can just hear. But yeah, not good. In fact,
No, I mean.
All right, so I can't find the scene. But yeah, basically he's sat in the diner. Mm-hmm. And he's obviously not been sleeping because he's getting he's had these nightmares about Freddy Krueger. And I think his girlfriend who's trying to talk some sense into him, and she says, these dreams aren't real. And he responds with, these dreams are real.
Oh, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. I found it.
Okay.
Nancy. Hey, Chris. You can sit wherever you want. Actually, I'm just here to meet Dean. Oh, he's right over there. Thanks.
Oh, please don't tell me it's gonna cut out at the end here. No. Wait a minute.
Wow, you look like you haven't.
Like I haven't slept in 3 days.
It's coming.
Dean, what's going on?
So are you going into this? You see me?
Oh, all right. Well,
It cut. Oh, you son of a...
you son of a bitch! It cut. Oh my god, I was so there. I just typed
It's
in
just-
the diner.
Nobody
Oh.
wants to remind us of that line.
No, cut out at the freaking last part where she comes in. These dreams.
A real.
Oh, they cut it out. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, that was the opening scene of the
Yeah, I
2010.
There was quite a few things wrong with the remake, really. I mean, the design of Freddy, for one thing, they tried to make him look more like a burn victim. Instead, he ended up looking like fucking Clayface.
Yep.
They also emphasized on his motives for killing kids, and emphasized more on the fact that he's a little dirtier than the original Freddy. But I think that's what made the original Freddy scarier, was the fact that he didn't really have a motive. He just liked killing kids. Well, I say kids, they were like 20-year-olds playing teenagers, which is an 80's trope.
Yep.
So for me, in a 6-year period, we were introduced to Michael, then Jason, then Freddy. And as much as I love Halloween, I think Nightmare did the best job in trying to be scary. Everyone gave a solid performance, especially Heather Langenkamp in the female lead. Robert Englund, of course, we mentioned as Freddy. But I mean, he also had the most animated and charismatic character out of those 3 horror icons. Also, Halloween didn't really age well. You watch it, you can see that's definitely an 80's movie. Well, 78, excuse me, late 70's movie. Especially all the death scenes haven't aged well. They come across as quite cheesy sometimes. Same with Friday the 13th, although it did have some great practical effects. Some of the direction and camera work is a little bit questionable, but yeah, I really can't pick many faults with Nightmare. Wes Craven was an absolute genius.
I absolutely was. And for me, I also look at it like this. What really captivates you about the Nightmare on Elm Street is just the fact that you have these dreams and you're dying in your sleep. And just the overthinking comes into your dreams. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Like for me, it also shows the dream effect and then the reality of dreams and everything like that. And the overall science, if you will. So stuff like that kind of makes you think. It also makes you kind of make the hair on your neck stand up. So, I mean, for me, that's what I always loved about those films and just the overall creativity that they put into it. I just went deep with that. I know, people, but hey, man, there's a lot of meaning to these films besides everybody getting killed. You know what I'm saying? I went deep with it.
Yeah, and of course, Nightmare, Friday, and Halloween all produced endless sequels that some of them were okay, but some of them were just like obvious cash-ins and completely unnecessary. I mean, it took a while really for Friday to get for Nightmare, to get stupid. Like the second one was pretty good, but that one was more about possession rather than actual nightmares. And the third one, I believe, is where it was set in an institution. And that's where Heather Langenkamp comes back as Nancy, and that one's pretty good too. Then we get, I think, number 4 was the one with a very young Patricia Arquette.
Yes.
And then, they just kind of get a little bit stupider after that.
It's like, for me, like, there's so many series. I know it's not really horror, but kind of, sort of. It's like, they're doing, like, another Final Destination coming out, like, around Halloween time. Oh,
Yes.
I was waiting for that reaction. Like, I love Final Destination, but I'm kind of like, because I'm talking to Brittany about this. What?
Enough.
I know. I was talking to her about this. I'm like, I kind of want to see this, but it's like, how many friggin' Final Destinations are we going to have? Must have been like 5. This would be number 6, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God. Well, they're doing more Scream movies, and there's going to be more Halloween, I believe, in 2022, which is cool. I know, I can hear the groaning over there from you. But I mean, I'll take that over friggin' another Final Destination movie. Like, I checked out of that movie. I've seen all of them, but I think I kind of like checked out maybe after the third one.
Yeah, I've seen. I know I've definitely seen the fourth one. I don't know if I've seen the fifth one.
The fifth one was
The fifth one was what?
the bridge.
Oh, okay, maybe I have seen it, but I don't remember it. But yeah, first three were
Yeah.
great. 4 and 5, eh.
Yeah, so they start with the plane, then they did the whole nine there, and then it goes to the damn roller coaster. Then it goes to the damn racetrack. Then it goes to the bridge. The bridge. The Bears.
And still to this day, people are afraid to drive behind trucks carrying logs of wood.
Hey, you know what it is too? For me, I also look at it like this. Some people who used to tan as well, and that like to tan, and look like friggin' Jersey Shore out the wazoo. It's afraid to go get some tan, man. Friggin' dying in the tanning bed.
It's in Beecham County, Alabama, Ma.
We in wazoo, ma. We in wazoo. They sleep with their sisters. Well, some of them do.
Some of them do.
I
I can't wait for the Reel of Fortune to bring up Joe Pesci movies so we can watch My Cousin Vinny.
Yes. We are definitely going to be quoting the whole effing movie when that comes up.
Alright, so 5 films or less. Before we rank these movies. I got it with one link.
What's that?
So I've managed to link them in just 3 movies. So, you ready for this one?
Hit me.
Alright, so Johnny Depp to Jack Nicholson. Johnny Depp was in Dark Shadows with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Michelle Pfeiffer was then in Wolf with Jack Nicholson.
Ah, all right.
So actually, that's 2 movies. There we go. Much quicker than last time.
Exactly. Ooh.
All right, let's rank them. So, where are you ranking? Oh, this is a tough one for you. So, Lost Boys over The Shining.
Now, you know me, I love the horror comedy aspect of The Lost Boys. That's my jam. But I would have to say that would be number 2 and Shining would be number 1 just because of one line. Actually 2 lines. Besides, here's Johnny and the overall buck wildness of Jack Nicholson. But you know what else I got to say to that?
What's that?
Daddy! Daddy! Yes. It's like Eric. He was the original Eric Young before Eric Young. Next week! Daddy!
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your freaking brains in.
That too. And just, oh my god, I'm just gonna bash your fucking brains in. Yeah, I love that friggin'. So yes, The Shining number 1, Lost Boys number 2. It's just so good.
Okay. Now we get to rank them above or below your previous choices from the first episode. So, Twisted Desire or The Shining?
That's, first of all, I don't want to have Melissa Joan Hart come after me and just plot my death after that, but I hate to say it, The Shining.
Yeah, has to be.
Absolutely, I have to say it because it's the fucking Shining.
Alright, so that leaves The Lost Boys. Is that going above Twisted Desire or in between the two or beneath 1BR? Where are you going?
Above.
Ooh, so The Shining, Lost Boys, Twisted Desire, and then 1BR. That's your list so far.
Yes.
Alright, fair enough.
And I enjoyed 1BR because it was creepy as shit, but I mean, it's relatively new. And Twisted Desire is more, it's based off a true story, but I mean, it's just, it's more like, drama, horror, if you will, because it's just so oof and suspenseful. But for me, that's my rankings.
Yeah. Alright, so first of all, I think I got a list Nightmare on Elm Street above The Woman in Black. Just based purely on the fact that it's more famous and it's the pace is a lot faster in Nightmare.
Fair enough.
So, do I put Nightmare above or below Bill and Ted? Ugh.
You got to put him above Bill and Ted.
I
Make
got to.
Make the decision, Daz. I know you love you some
it
Bill
now.
and Ted. Just make the right decision. No, just make the decision. I know you love Bill and Ted. Just make the decision. You know it's the right one. Even do it if you.
It is. So yeah, Nightmare, Bill and Ted, Woman in Black. Oh, I think I gotta put it at the bottom. No, wait. Okay, Bill and Ted's definitely staying second. But I don't know if I'm gonna put the Woman in Black above The Wrong Turn.
I would put The Wrong Turn, man. Wrong Turn is much better than The Woman in Black.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, but then you get to the Wrong Turn sequels, and then that's a whole different story.
Well, first and foremost, we either just stop this show now, Mister. I won't put it over Bill and Ted. It's hard. Yes, you can. Just freaking put it over Bill and Ted with Nightmare on Elm Street. I can sense the pain in your voice that you had to do that.
It did hurt. It did hurt.
It
I
hurt.
mean, I think it was a lot easier for you because you had two very well-known movies this week, and
Yes.
last time they were hidden gems.
They were. Yes. Oh, they were hidden gems. Yes, they were. But, it's one of those things where when you have The Shining and The Lost Boys, two great films, and again, it brings me back to my childhood because my mom loved that from the 80s, and same with The Lost Boys. And I think my mom also enjoyed, I think it was around the time when Jason Patrick was in Rush. You know what I'm saying? I might have been before that, but I knew about Jason Patrick, and then this is the days of the VHS. So I originally saw The Lost Boys on the VHS tape that we had. So yes, kids these days will not know about Blockbuster and VHSs. They just won't. But yeah, no, it has the memory of it. Just watch with your family and the camaraderie, and also just scaring the living bejesus out of you, man, and also laughing at the same time with The Lost Boys. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
You say Blockbuster to kids, and they just think, oh, it's that store from South Park.
You just want to smack them. First of all, very nice reference, but you just want to smack them. But for the love of God, because they just won't have to deal with that. They won't know what it's like to having a friggin' tape, putting a blank VHS tape in there and taping something, or just watching VHS and a whole VHS player. They got DVDs. They got all these things. They got friggin'. Oh, God, they got the DVD boxes. They got the whole nine, man, where you can go to your 7-Eleven and just rent the movie, for God's sake. Hello.
Yeah, alright, so let's spin the Wheel of Fortune and find out what the topic is for the next episode.
That was Redbox, by the way, I believe I was meaning to say, not DVD box. I don't know where the hell that came from, but yeah, let's go with that. Get spin the wheel.
Okay, coming of age. You kind of did one this week, so it's basically like... Stand By Me, The Sandlot, The Goonies, movies like that about groups of kids coming together as friends and kind of learning how to grow up. This should be fun. So basically every 90s movie ever.
Yeah.
I think we can fit Lost Boys into that category. So we'll see what we come up with for next time.
Oh, that's going to be tough for me, man, because I got to look at like 90s films and 80s films coming of age. That's interesting. Something different.
Yeah. It's most of Corey Feldman's filmography.
Pretty much. Can I put Angels in the Outfield in there because they were orphans?
I guess.
I mean,
I haven't seen it, but I'll say yes.
You've never seen Angels in the Outfield?
No.
What? He sees an angel? Tony Danza, Danny Glover. I tried to see Angels. I really tried. You've never seen Angels in the Outfield? And then the father just walks at him and he cries? Friggin' Joseph Gordon-Levitt? What the fuck?
Well, now you've got to pick that one for the next episode.
I probably will, yeah, because that was a great movie. But what the fuck, Daz? Well, how have you never not seen Angels in the Outfield? Christopher Lloyd, man.
Damn.
Damn what?
That's a good cast.
You've never seen Angels in the Outfield?
No.
What the fuck? Where you been? Oh my God. We're always watching. He sees the Angels. Angels play baseball. Friggin' Ranch fucking Wilder with his fucking big ass chin and just smug look that you just want to smack. Oh, I'm watching.
It's a Disney movie too.
Yes. Friggin' you not knowing Angels in the Outfield. Friggin' Miguel. I'm gonna miss him. I really lacked Miguel. Miguel treated you like shit. Miguel fucking sucks. I'll save this for the next episode, but there's a little appetizer for you. Dazzy Dangerously and Angels in the Outfield. God.
Well, I know it was 1994, but was it straight to video or?
No, it was in the theaters, and I
okay.
still have the VHS.
Okay. Well, we'll find out more about it next time.
Jesus, man, freaking Daz over here talking about, I've never seen Dangerously Alpha. Christopher fucking Lloyd, Back to the Future. Great Scott, Dazzy Dangerously. Great fucking Scott.
Slap on hand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got through those two quicker than last week. I mean, we also got through, not last week, 2 weeks ago. We also got through the 5 films, but that's a lot quicker this time, so
First
anyway.
of all, we picked a better cast, and number 2, I went outside the box last time, so it was a little bit
It
harder.
was way outside the box.
Oh my god.
In the meantime, if you haven't heard already, exclusive to Vimeo, there's a new little nugget for you from myself, which is called Capital FM. It's basically a mock radio show with alternative, classic, modern rock. Basically, everything you don't want to hear on mainstream radio. Or everything you wish you heard on mainstream radio, I should say. You can check it out exclusive to Vimeo because, copyright and stuff. It's vimeo.com/666FM. I thought that would be a nice little username.
Of course, it's 666
Yeah.
FM. Of course it is.
And of course, Max Wrestling Podcast every single Thursday. Brand new episode coming this week. And Mike, this week it's episode 290, which means we're 10 weeks away from that 300th episode.
Yay.
Hell yeah. Get it. Okay, you have been watching/listening to the Captain and Mike Larkin. Thank you for netpicking and chilling with us. Don't forget to follow us on social media. There is no account for this show, but make sure you follow Four Corner Union on Twitter along with Max Wrestling UK and of course the Max Wrestling Facebook group for all of our shows. And I am also living life on Twitter at DazzyBrand and the Captain512. And Mike, give him your monologue.
You guys can check me out, StephenMikeShow.com, SoundCloud.com/MCLarkin92, pop_culture_pod for the Pop Culture History Podcast, SM Show 1, MCL92. I'm all over the Twitter machine, LaundryFC.com, Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the 3 key elements that make women the work of art that they are. Man, it's a good time to be a podcaster, and you can also check me out here each and every week on the Max Wrestling Podcast and the Netpicks Podcast with my main man, Dazzy Lee, Dazzy Dangerous Lee. Woo!
And come back to Netpicks and chill with us again for coming of age movies next time. So round up the chicken, bacon, and mayo, because that's a wrap.
I ain't got a son, I ain't got a daughter, I'm a lonely boy. In the bathtub, Corey Haim.